Right, counter punch of boxing. What is going on, YouTube? We're back, we're back, we're back. Okay, I had a little hurricane duty I had to take care of over the past couple of days, so I've been, been gone for a couple of days. But look, I'm excited. I couldn't wait to get back. I have like a ton of information to pass on to you guys, but I'm gonna try to maybe just kind of funnel it down into one video. But look, let's get right into it. I mean, there's so much, look, I sat down to make the video, and I watched another interview. And I was like, man, I want to talk about that too. So it's just a mountain of information. But I had a thought. I like to end and begin. Maybe throw a little cliff note in there. But I had a thought. Okay, do you notice? The same people, okay, that criticize Gennady Golovkin for the Brook fight say absolutely nothing about Jacobs coming in one or possibly two weight divisions heavier than Golovkin. Meaning that it's okay, or it's not okay when Golovkin, is fighting a guy that's apparently smaller than him, but they say absolutely nothing when he is the little guy and he's fighting a guy, two divisions higher than him. It's just like this double standard. I notice this, right? And I haven't heard a lot of people talk about that, right? I mean, you look what he did, they say, oh, well, he didn't knock out Jacobs. Well, number one, I mean, he's been on record time and time and time again. In the past week, I've heard him talk about it 3 different times, how he carried Jacobs, and, he said, look, I could have knocked him out. Sure, he's basically saying, like, do you really think that, if I wanted to, you think I couldn't? I mean, he basically put it like that. Like, there's no way that, if I wanted to, he would have hit the canvas, in other words. So, and I believe him, but. And another thing I want to clear up, okay, in this fight here, this will be, okay, so we got 18 title defenses. A Canelo win will tie Bernard Hopkins' record at 19. Okay, now if they do have a rematch, let's say Gennady Golovkin wins, they have a rematch, then he could break the record with Canelo. So, basically if he wins, they're going to tie it up, okay? So, and I hope he does. I mean, that's a really cool thing to put down in boxing history, especially a fight this big. To say that hey, I tied Bernard Hopkins' record in the Canelo fight. I think that's an awesome thing. So hopefully, well, not hopefully. I gotta look. I gotta be quiet on my prediction because and that'll be coming up in the next day or two. I think I know where I'm gonna go. Right now, I'm kind of like going back and forth. I have, 2 different ideas. So, and then, another thing I like, Canelo or Golovkin, he said, look, I'm no Chavez and Canelo is no Jacobs, okay? Meaning, I'm better than Chavez and Jacobs could beat you, Canelo. That's what he's saying. I'm no Chavez and you're no Jacobs, okay? So he's got a lot of respect for Jacobs. I mean, I will give Jacobs that. I mean, Gennady Golovkin has shown him a ton of respect, especially in the build-up to the Canelo fight. And he's not. I mean, really. I mean, be realistic with yourself. What do you think would happen in a Jacobs Canelo fight? Like, realistically, what do you think would happen? Okay. And then I know, another thing that does suck, though, I believe he did carry Jacobs, but he was on a 23 KO streak, going into that fight after the Brook fight, that round 5 knockout. So that kind of broke that 21 KO streak. That's the only thing that kind of kind of sucks or whatever. But look, let me just go over a couple of things in an interview that Gennady Golovkin did, and I'll ask you. Okay, the guy asked Golovkin, he said, here, let me get to, this picture right here. I got to talk about that too, man. There's just so much I need to go over. Okay, so the guy asked Golovkin, not this particular interview, it was a different interview on Sirius XM radio. The guy said, what win or what victory of Canelo's, were you most impressed by? So who did he beat that impressed you the most? Asking Golovkin. Now I'll ask you. I mean, how do you think he answered that? So in my mind, I had a couple of ideas, but he said probably Cotto. And I guess that to me, Canelo's biggest win as of now would be, in my mind, Cotto. I mean, really, who else is there? It's not Amir Khan. It's not a Mosley. It's not all the names. It's got to be a Cotto. It's got to be a Miguel Cotto. But then they went on to ask him, they said, do you think the fight is better now or 2 years ago? And Golovkin agrees that it's better now. He's like, look, this is going to backfire because I'm better now. They think they're waiting me out. They think I've gotten old, like I'm going to get old overnight. And this, all this business. But he's like, look, it's going to backfire on him. And and I'll show it to you. So I like that, and I don't think it's just, like blind confidence. I think that he truly believes, like he knows, look, he knows Canelo, and that's another thing that he continues to talk about. He's like, I know, and we trained together. I felt the power. Sure, that was a while back, and he's improved, okay. But he's saying, basically back then, there was nothing. He had nothing to worry about. There was nothing that he could do to Golovkin that he had to worry about. So I mean, how can you improve, that dramatically over a short period of time? 4 years kind of thing. So which you can. I'm not trying to say can't, but I don't think in his mind it's not enough for him to be concerned. Okay. But then in the same breath, I mean, as a credit to Canelo, in the same breath, he'll say, but I think it's pretty much an even fight, right down the middle, 50-50. It can go either way, okay? But now, as we get closer to the fight, now he's talking like, well, I've got a big surprise for you guys. We're working on a couple of things in the gym, and I'll show you. I'll show you on fight night. So that was interesting to me. Now look, the reason he's looking all angry right here, like mean mugging or whatever, is because they were showing Golovkin Canelo with that picture. Well, Canelo, look, I don't know. Well, actually, you probably don't know. Okay, Canelo put a picture out. He's got like the Lamborghini and the Hummer and the Corvette and all the cars like behind him. And they asked Golovkin, they were like, well, what do you think about that? And he's like, that's dumb. He's like, you need one car. He's like, maybe two cars if you have a family, a wife, or whatever. He's like, I have one car. He's like, why do you need 3 and 4 cars? So that irritated him because, I just think he's just a very humble dude to the core. And, you've never seen him flaunt anything, at all. Like the guy's always in a t-shirt and a hat and he's worth millions, right? I mean, he is a multi-millionaire, so he's like, I have one car and that's good enough for me, so I thought that was interesting that, that picture really didn't do much, for Gennady Golovkin. So, and again, he keeps talking about how they trained and they sparred, and this is a true middleweight fight, in which it is. If you think about it, it's this. I mean, look, this fight right here. This is the first time Canelo hasn't had some huge advantage, like some A-side advantage, right? I mean, this is truly the first time. There's no catch weight, nothing like that. I mean, look at the Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. fight. Chavez, the last time he fought below 167 was like 5 years prior to that. So Chavez hadn't made that weight in half a decade, okay? And not only did he not make that weight, but he had to drop down to 164.5. And remember, he would have been penalized $1 million like per pound. So, Golovkin was mentioning all this, bringing it all up, just saying that, how could anyone be proud of that? Basically, how can you be proud of something like that? It doesn't make any kind of sense to me, and it doesn't make sense to me either. So, and I'm kind of paraphrasing for Golovkin, but that's basically what he was trying to say, and I completely agree. Now, Abel Sanchez, remember he was talking about how they didn't really do anything different in the camp. He's like, yeah, we didn't do a whole lot different. We're professionals. We do the same thing every time, but that's not true. I mean, the truth will always come out. They're talking about, how they're watching film, okay? Like they're getting to know everything about Canelo. I mean, every little move that he makes, and they're working on a couple of different moves, which I like, because right now, of course, Canelo, he's training for the traditional Gennady Golovkin, and I hope that he doesn't change it up so much where it's ineffective. He needs to just be who he is in the ring. But I like that they're working on a couple of like secret punches and things like that. And he's like, he keeps talking about a round, right? He's like, there's going to be a round. I'm going to show you something. And I'm like, what? Is like dude going to like switch it up to like southpaw? Like, what is he talking about? He's like, there's going to be a round and I'm going to show you something that we've been working on. So, and then the guy went on, he said, did you learn anything from the, watching the Mayweather fight? And he said, no, we're different fighters, and I'm not going in there to win on points. So I like that too, that attitude. He's like, we're not trying to win on points. We're not going to leave it up to the judges. We know what we've got to do. If we lose, it's on us. If we lose by decision, it's our own fault. He said that again, so that wasn't like a one-time comment, a month and a half ago. I like that he brought that up again. And then here's another thing that a lot of people, like I haven't heard anyone mention. It's like these guys need to get on the ball, right? I mean, all these look at this picture right here. All these guys out there, they really need to get on the ball. Look, Canelo went from camp to camp. Okay, think about this. He trained for the Chavez camp, right? Had the Chavez fight, and then just boom, immediately after went right into the Gennady Golovkin camp. And that's why a lot of people, I mean, even Billy Joe Saunders, which I don't want to mention his name, but the guy actually, actually sounded, halfway intelligent for once. He was like, look, he looks overcooked, he looks baked, he looks overdone, and, he went from the Chavez camp immediately into the Gennady Golovkin camp. And that's not good, and it really isn't. So, and I like that there's something different about Gennady Golovkin. The demeanor has changed, the real Golovkin has emerged, and I like that. Because when you're going into a situation like this, you cannot be a people pleaser, you can't be a yes man, you can't worry about, all the people around you. It's just because, look, on fight night, it is you and him, and that is it. So, but also, look, there was a ton of fights over the weekend, and I'm probably going to make a video in a little bit here and just kind of, sum them up right here. But I had a picture, let's see, on the HBO card right here if you want to pause it and take a look. And I've watched a couple of them, but yeah, just great fights over the weekend. So, but yeah, here we are. Today is, what is today? Today is the 10th. So, wow, we are like 6 days and counting. So I'm excited. I can't wait. And from this point on, I'm going to put out at least 1 or 2 videos a day, to keep you guys completely updated on the Canelo Golovkin situation. So I just wanted to hop on here real quick, do a little bit of catching up. And I've got some, good breaking news coming up here in about an hour or two. So, be sure to come back, check out the channel. Thank you for watching. I appreciate everything. I really do. The channel's growing at a tremendous rate. And leave your comment below.